Yo, welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Tuesday the 13th of January, 2015, and I would be your host, Ant-Man. I got an article in front of me from ClashDaily.com. It is titled Conspiracy? FEMA Camp's Civilian Labor Camp Program. This is by James Roger. It was published today. He is a Clash Daily contributor. This writing was inspired by a Rachel Maddow MSNBC video from July 2013. I had never given FEMA camps much more than a thought of a conspiracy theory until now. With my curiosity stirred, I began Googling all things FEMA, Civilian Inmate Camp Program, and RX-84. I found more information that I could process in a short time, so I had to spend several hours reading and searching. After what I found and read, I no longer believe FEMA camps are a conspiracy. This has been going on for a long time. In World War II, there was a similar program to incarcerate Germans in America to try and prevent sabotage of our ships ferrying supplies to our allies in Europe. If memory saves me, a couple of ships may have been sunk by homeland Germans before they were caught. Also, during World War II, Japanese were housed for the duration of the war in similar camps until after the conflict was over. Whether they were loyal to America or not, they lost most everything they had, and after the war, they had to start over. RX-84, short for Readiness Exercise 1984, was originally a plan for the Army and National Guard to respond to major and domestic civil disturbances within the United States. REX-84, FEMA's blueprint for martial law in America, gives more information on FEMA's ability not only to protect the government, but to be its principal vehicle for martial law. A Washington Post article says the Federal Appeals Court can detain a U.S. citizen captured on U.S. soil without any criminal charges. That's ridiculous. I mean, just when you read it, like, you know what I mean? It's not like I didn't know that, but it's amazing when you know, like, they do stuff like that. Like, they're writing stuff like that and thinking that's all right. Like, whoa. Let me be quick to point out that a lot of this infringements on our rights started under George Bush after 9/11. His original intention, I believe, was to attempt to prevent future terrorism on U.S. soil. Regardless, it did strip us from many of our freedoms as American citizens. A Canada Free Press article declares without America there is no free world. To quote a paragraph from the article, to understand how extensive this is, the Western Center for Journalism published a list of Obama's worst executive orders, asserting that some 900 Obama executive orders have been initiated when in fact Obama has signed 139. However, added to active EOs from previous administrations, the center is correct in its fears that he is creating a martial law Disneyland of control covering everything imaginable. In a New York Times article published in 2006, the Army Corps of Engineers awarded a contract worth up to $385 million for building temporary immigration detention centers to Kellogg, Brown, and Root. According to Kick Them All Out, there are now over 800 FEMA camps in the U.S. Reading their PDF file describes their under Army Regulation 210-35 as a civilian inmate labor program. That reminds me of German labor camps during World War II when citizens, mostly Jews, were forced to build weapons for Hitler's army. Then, too, there were the concentration camps where those who couldn't work were sent to die. 600 million of them. Oh, let's not forget that what was driving the maniac that we know as Adolf Hitler was atheistic evolution. All with the propaganda of all being in the name of God, assuming, you know what I mean, he's talking about the Christian God. He's wrong, and I would have to say that is mad propaganda. It was written in Mein Kampf. It's anybody knows that a tree is, you shall know a tree by its fruit. It's funny that people can fool the world by doing that sometimes, though, by marking themselves as a Christian and doing all these things that they do, and it doesn't justify that. That's clearly not what we're. You know why we don't call radical Muslims radical? We just call them Muslims is because that if they follow their religion, then that's just what they do. There's nothing radical about. It's like if I'm a Christian and I'm nice to you because that's just how it is. Like, you know, and it's like that's because that's what my that's because that's what I, you know, see to be what is my calling, and you know what I mean, to be, you know what I mean, to be showing the love of God and whatnot. And it's just it's funny how like some people will actually buy into it just for the sake of hiding behind that whole corrupt system of trying to push God out of the society. Why is the Western world the final frontier of all freedom? Because we have those values, we have those things ingrained in our society, which was Christianity, but now being pushed out. Now we're becoming like openly pagan, and it's ridiculous. But that's a whole different topic. Perhaps I'm being a bit extreme in my thinking, but with Homeland Security arming themselves and sending military-style vehicles and weapons to police throughout the U.S., I am a bit concerned, since it seems that no illegal aliens are being placed in the FEMA camps, and there are plenty of them. The administration must be preparing for martial law. Any thinking person can't help but consider that the racial situation in the U.S. is being agitated for a reason. If a solution is not found sometime in the future, there will be cities becoming violent and riots will break out. We are already seeing daily rioting in several cities and the deliberate killing of policemen. An almost daily push to disarm the public and make us defenseless. With all the information presented here and in the news daily, there have become mumblings of a revolution. There is indeed a reason to think martial law isn't far away. At this time, we can only hope not. I don't believe in a future that'll happen no matter what we do. I believe in a future that'll happen if we don't do anything at all, is how the quote kind of goes. If we do nothing. If we do nothing, you see what you're going to do. You see the trap being laid in front of you, my friend. And if you are a watchman like myself, I guess, you need to warn people. You need to tell people that, you know what I mean, like they're going to fall into this pit that everyone else is going to fall into if it actually happens. But if we can, you know, steer it in a good direction, who knows? Who is to question what God is capable of doing and how he, how nothing is too hard for him? Who knows? What if, you know what I mean, America comes out of this amazingly, like, revolutionized, and there's another reformation in this country, and there's more like, like Wesley brothers preaching in the street. You know, I don't know, but I'm just saying it would be amazing, right? But as you can see, there is a lot of social engineering that is against us and has turned our fellow citizens on us, man. And it's an attack on freedom of speech. It's an attack on your property, and it's an attack on the Imago Dei, because you, as made in the image of God, have inalienable rights, is what the Constitution calls it, that nobody could take away your property, and your property is what you believe. And we don't need thought police, and we don't need people telling us that we're not allowed to speak our mind and we not claim that we know truth. And who are you to say that I'm not allowed to make you're trying to make the rules and say that I can't judge at the same time as like being hypocritical. I'm not even saying that I'm making up my own. This isn't my philosophy. This is proven and tried throughout history, and it is proven to be the right way to be. And that there is a God, and he created the world, and when you live by his rules, you get freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Where you get prosperity is where you see unity, where you see people having peace, not for the sake of peace, but because they know what it costs to be free, that they need to be kind of like aware that, that we're all, we have something precious that everybody would want to take away from us, as we have seen through history, and that you should be vigilant to defend those liberties as long as you have the time and day to do it. So I encourage you, as long as you are somebody who loves your country, you should. You shouldn't be like all these people who are going around killing police officers just for the sake that they're police officers. That's an ungrateful thing, just like it is to be ungrateful to be unpatriotic, not loving your country, because you know what I mean. You have no idea. You know what an amazing gift it is to be born here, and it is not just our duty, or not just our responsibility, but an honor, you guys. It's an honor to fight in this fight, to pursue truth and defend liberty. Let's keep our minds right. Let's focus. Let's be in this fight. But that's all I got to say, Let the scoffers scoff. Let the mockers mock. Let whoever wants to be playing games, let them play games until the sun comes home. I don't know. But God bless you. Have a good day.